is still so minimal thought about space by current science. However, of that little we do know, there are some remarkably astonishing things. This is a video of the best 10 cool realities about space. The thickness of Saturn is low to such an extent that if you somehow happen to place it in a monster glass of water, it would coast. The real thickness of Saturn is 0.687 grams per centimeter 3, while the thickness of water is 0.998 grams per centimeter 3. At the equator, Saturn has a range of 60,268 plus minus 4 kilometers, which implies you would require an incredibly enormous glass of water to test this out. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is turning at a pace of 225 kilometers for each second. What's more, the cosmic system is going through space at the pace of 305 kilometers for every second. This implies we are going at an all-out speed of 530 kilometers, 330 miles every second. That implies that in brief you are around 19,000 kilometers from where you were. Researchers don't all concede to the speed with which the Milky Way is voyaging. Gauges run from 130-1,000 kilometers per second. It ought to be said that Einstein's hypothesis of relativity, the speed of any item through space, isn't significant. Consistently, the Moon moves about 3.8 centimeters further away from the Earth. This is brought about by tidal impacts. Thus, the Earth is easing back in turn by about 0.002 seconds of the day out of every century. Researchers don't have the foggiest idea how the Moon was made, yet the for the most part acknowledged hypothesis proposes that a huge Mars-estimated object hit the Earth, making the Moon splinter off. The vitality in the daylight we see today began in the center of the Sun 30,000 years prior. It invested the vast majority of this energy going through the thick iotas that make the Sun, and only 8 minutes to contact us once it had left the Sun. The temperature at the center of the Sun is 13,600,000 kelvins. The entirety of the vitality delivered by combination in the center must go through numerous progressive layers to the Sun-oriented photosphere before it escapes into space as daylight or active vitality of particles. Sun-powered breezes are charged particles that are launched out from the upper surface of the Sun because of the high temperature of the crown and the high motor vitality. Particles increase through a procedure that isn't surely known as of now. Additionally, did you realize that one pinhead of the Sun's vitality is sufficient to slaughter an individual a good ways off of 160 kilometers? Numerous individuals believed the enormous scoop to be a heavenly body at the same time. Indeed, it is an asterism. An asterism is an example of stars in the sky which isn't one of the authority 88 heavenly bodies. They are additionally made out of stars which are not truly identified with one another and can be tremendous separations separated. An asterism can be made out of stars from at least one groups of stars. On account of the Big Dipper, it is made completely out of the 7 most splendid stars in the Ursa Major heavenly body. At the point when Sir William Herschel found Uranus in 1781,
Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun. It has the 3rd largest planetary radius and 4th largest planetary mass.
King George III, Mad King George. This is the thing that he stated. In the fantastic times of antiquated occasions, the designations of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn were given to the planets, just like the names of their head saints and divinities. In the current progressively philosophical time, it would scarcely be suitable to have plan of action to a similar strategy and call it Juno, Pallas, Apollo or Minerva, for a name to our new eminent body. The main thought of a specific occasion, or astounding episode, is by all accounts its order. If in any future age it ought to be asked, When this last discovered planet was found, it would be an acceptable response to stating the rule of King George III. Uranus was likewise the main planet to be found with the utilization of a telescope. Okay, that isn't in reality obvious, yet it is close. In 1986, Duncan Waldron found a space rock that is in an elliptic circle around the Sun with a time of upheaval for all intents and purposes indistinguishable from that of Earth. Thus the planetoid and Earth give off an impression of being following one another. The intermittent planetoid is named Creuthn after an old gathering of Scottish individuals. As a result of its surprising relationship with Earth, it is here and there alluded to as Earth's subsequent moon. Creuthn is fainter than Pluto and would require in any event a 12.5-inch reflecting telescope to endeavor to be seen. Since its disclosure, in any event 3 other comparable space rocks have been found. These kinds of articles are likewise found in comparable connections to different planets in our solar system. In the picture above, the Earth is the blue hover with a cross in it, and Creuthn's circle is appeared in yellow. Antonio Stradivari is viewed as the best violin producer ever. He lived in Italy in the 17th and 1800s of years. Researchers have been not able to work out what it is about his violins that makes them so mind-boggling. However, they do realize that the timbre used to make them is a significant contributing element. From the 1500 seconds to 1800 seconds, the Earth experienced a little ice age generally because of expanded volcanic movement and diminished sun-oriented action. Because of this cooling, the sorts of trees that Stradivari utilized for his violins were especially hard. Hard timber is particularly acceptable when making violins. It is truly plausible that had Stradivari lived in an alternate age, his violins would not be prized as they are today. This image above is made of 3 covering photographs. It shows the rings in the tidy tree used to put the most on the map Stradivarius violin, the Messiah. The principal column of numbers gives the width of each ring in millimeters. The baseline gives the years where each ring developed. This may sound fantastic, however it is valid. 2 bits of metal with no covering on them will shape into one piece in the vacuum of room. This doesn't occur on Earth in light of the fact that the air puts a layer of oxidized material between the surfaces. This may appear as though it would be a major issue on the space station, yet as most devices utilized there have originated from Earth, they are as of now covered with material. Actually, the main proof of this seen so far has been in tests intended to incite the response. This procedure is called cold welding.